How's it going, everyone? I'm your host, the Carolina Collector. And if you can't tell by the tone of my voice, I'm very upset. And I'm making this video because this is a subject that really gets me angry. And as an eBay seller, I have a reputation to uphold. And when things like this happen, it costs me money and it can potentially ruin my reputation because of something that's clearly not my fault. Because the United States Postal Service has screwed the pooch. I don't want to cuss. I don't want to swear. I want to keep this channel happy and family friendly. But when things like this happen, it really, really bothers me because when other people trust me as an eBay seller and purchases something off of me, I take people's money seriously. You know, I mentioned loosely that I was at the World Trade Center in 2001 as a volunteer and recovery worker. And my life has been not so normal. I'll leave it at that. It's been very chaotic, my life, ever since. But over the years, I take money seriously. And I do take certain things in my life very seriously because, you know, given the nature of my life the way it is now, you know, I'm very cautious with what I do with my finances. But when it comes to other people's money, I take that even more seriously because when somebody's on eBay trusting me to sell them an item, they are depending on me to take their hard-earned money that they worked for and broke their ass for. Maybe they have, you know, fixed incomes like I do. Because, you know, I have income coming from the government and my union in the form of a pension, etc., on disability pension. So, you know, money can get a little tight. And as a result of going through financial difficulties throughout the course of my life, as many people do, I take people's money seriously, like I expect people to take my money seriously. And now as an eBay seller, you know, trying to run a small business, when somebody trusts me with their money and something happens, it gets me angry, which is why I'm making this video. And I want to thank this particular customer on eBay who has been working with me diligently for the past couple days because something happened that has never happened to me before in the time I've been selling on eBay. Now, just to give you a little background as to how I sell my baseball cards, for example, I use these. I use envelopes. I graduated from using envelopes like this and then reinforcing the cards with cardboard. But I still use these for the graded cards because they work really well. But when it comes to loose cards, like this one, for example, that's a Juan Soto, which is on eBay right now for sale, I'll pack it in the envelope, or I'll actually wrap this with index cards and staple the index cards together just to give it a little extra sturdiness, and then print out the label and then mail it to my customer, and the tracking number is automatically input into eBay's algorithm so that the customer knows exactly what they're getting and can track the package just like that. It's really streamlined, and I've never had a problem. But when it comes to graded cards, I tend to use these. Now, the SGC cards don't fit in those envelopes, so what I do with the PSA cards or the SGCs is I'll take them, wrap them with cardboard or whatever have you, and then put them into these envelopes, print out the shipping label, and then off the envelope goes. Up until now, with this one card. And again, I'm grateful for this particular customer for, you know, trusting me. And I promised him I was going to make a video about this particular subject because the post office screwed the pooch. I want to keep the channel family friendly. There's a lot of colorful metaphors and foul language I can use, but I want this channel to remain family friendly. But I can tell you I am thoroughly upset because I've never had something like this happen before. So every time I've mailed out baseball cards, I've never had a problem. And within 24 hours time, the cards, you'll see if you actually follow the tracking numbers, the cards will be moving through the system as they should. And then my customers can follow the tracking number as well. And I mentioned in the previous video, I use the USPS app, Parcel app, and 17 Track so that there's no mistakes. But I personally deliver cards like this to the post office. I don't leave them in my community mailbox. I don't do that. I bring them directly to the post office because there could be issues. Somebody might break into my mailbox here on the property. So I personally deliver the mail to the post office. Now, recently I sold off 5 cards. 4 of them, I believe, were either a mix of the Topps Chrome base set or the Topps Chrome lids cards. And one graded card, which was a PSA 9 base refractor. With the exception of the base refractor, the other cards were bought by 4 separate buyers and sent in 4 separate envelopes using these armorlopes. And then with the Corbin Carroll base refractor PSA 9, I mailed it in one of these, packed up the card well, but because this card is a little thicker, unfortunately, the shipping goes up. Because typically with eBay shipping, if you use these up until, I think, 8.5 by 11 or whatever the measurement envelopes are, or the measurement of the envelopes are, the shipping cost is $1.11 up to $20 as far as the value of the card is concerned. After that, the price goes up exponentially. In this case, the shipping was like $3. And they consider anything over 1/4 of an inch to be 1 inch in thickness. So the shipping will come out to like $1.85, all the way up to almost $4 in some cases. So I had no choice but to use one of these envelopes. And the shipping label is much different than what would be on these envelopes. So I brought 5 cards to the post office, mailed them all at the same time. All the cards but one is moving through the system. And of course, you can guess which one is the one that is the ugly stepchild, so to speak. You guessed it. It was the PSA 9 rookie refractor that my customer bought off of me. And just like with myself, and I shared this on eBay, and I think he watched the video about, and I think you guys watched it as well, how I almost got ripped off by a guy who wanted to sell me, all those packs of those lids, Topps Chrome Mitchell & Ness cards, and he never sent them. And I made a whole video about it, and I was able to get my money back through my bank. Because like with my customers, or maybe even some of you guys might be my customers, I take other people's money maybe even a little bit more seriously than my own, because I understand the value of $1. And for some people, including myself, it took me a long time to fight the system to be able to get the type of income that I get, because, I'm on permanent disability and I collect a pension and whatnot, and I had to fight a horrible battle. A guy like myself, who was, right in the heart of ground zero for the first week after it happened, man, I've got my health issues and stuff like that. But I had to go to court multiple times to get what I've got. And it sucks, because again, I'm on a fixed income. So that's what made me start doing this on eBay. So I care about other people's money, maybe a little bit more than I should, but I do care because I know what it's like to bust your hump to make money. And for some people got money to burn, some people don't. But, I get how people can get upset when it comes to their money. And I have a perfect track record on eBay. So I personally packed up the PSA 9 base refractor, double wrapped it and put it in one of these envelopes, and it had a clear USPS label with a big UPC number on it that could be scanned, and took all 5 cards and put it into the same thing that you pull down, like the packages. It's got that big drum. It's now Monday. I did that Friday night. It's now Monday. The card's still not circulating in the system. I went to the post office twice because if you guys watched my latest video prior to this one, I did a 12-card submission to SGC. So I went back to the post office to drop off those cards. And I asked again, what happened with this particular thing? And I got the runaround. In other words, they don't know. Oh, well, what can we do? Oh, well. And that got me pissed. So now that PSA 9 is floating around in the ether of the post office somewhere. And my customer wants his card. Fortunately, the individual who I'm dealing with is a very nice individual, and we've been messaging, and anybody who's a customer of mine knows I get back to them just like that, if I can, because I use eBay's app. As a seller, it's so much easier to go through the app instead of having to go on the desktop or a PC or whatever. So I communicate with my customers, or potential buyers very quickly. And I do have all day unless I'm busy with something. But this is a disappointing situation because now I personally took those envelopes, plopped it into the drum where you leave packages, because you don't put them in the slot. You put them in the drum because they are technically packages. And now the graded card is somewhere floating around in the ether of the post office. Nobody knows anything. I can't get straight answers from them. And I went back twice to send those graded cards that you guys saw in the last video. But I handed that box right to the teller instead of putting it in the drum. And I've always done that. And I've never had an issue doing that up until now. And now I'm potentially out a graded card. But as a responsible seller, and I do have more refractors coming, and other cards are going to be coming. I have card packs coming. So fortunately, the price point between that PSA 9 and the SGC 10 X-Fractor, I'm not so worried about losing the X-Fractor because I have other Corbin Carroll refractors coming. So at least I had something here that my customer agreed to. And I'm going to bring this to the post office and hand it off personally to avoid this from happening again. I can't explain what happened to the card. All I know is that I took it, plopped it in the mailbox. Oh, not the mailbox, into the drum. All the other cards are in transit. I checked my eBay itinerary for each card and track each card personally. And I also talked about using 17-track and Parcel app. And those cards are traveling. They're on their way to their destination, but after 3 days of mailing that PSA 9, it's nowhere to be found. And even now, prior to me making this video, and even my customers said it hasn't moved. And I'm thoroughly upset because now I'm out a card. It's not about how much the card is worth. It's about the principle of busting your hump, and trying to run a small business. In this case here, like I talked about this. Here's the Adley Rushman out of 5 from Mitchell & Ness. That's a 9.5. So, I'm able to sell this card. And there's like 6 watchers watching this card right now. So it's almost guaranteed that this card is going to sell. But I'm going to keep this one for myself. So some cards I keep, some cards I sell, depending on the situation. If you guys watch my video from yesterday, I have 2 Gunnar Hendersons from the same card set. One gold, one orange. So when the gold comes back, whatever the grade is, that's the one I'll be selling. And I'll keep the orange for myself. And that's kind of how I've been doing things. So now when my other Corbin Carrolls come, most likely I'll sell the PSA 10 base rookie, or I'll probably sell, this base rookie from the Mitchell & Ness set because I already have the orange, even though it's an 8.5 from SGC, I can sell this one. I'll keep the more powerful cards, so to speak. But it really burns my urine when I work hard to satisfy my customers, and then I take my packages and bring them to an establishment that's supposed to have one of the best reputations, and that's been around. It's an American staple, the post office. But this is the first time I've ever had something like this happen to me. And that the responsibility falls on my shoulders because now I have to try to explain to my customers why they can't get their stuff. And this particular customer, I don't blame them because you guys have seen that video where I nearly got ripped off with that one guy where I spent over $400 on card packs. He never sent them. Fortunately, my bank was able to get my money back. But then, in our earlier communications, which of course I didn't get frustrated or angry, I tried to handle the situation as professionally as I could. And then I sent the customer a link to my YouTube channel and he subscribed. And hopefully he watched that video because it's happened to me. And then he started questioning me. I could see this is not going to be any good and da-da-da-da-da. And I don't blame the person because it happened to me. You guys saw that video. So I don't blame people for being skeptical when their products don't come on time, or if the post office isn't moving, or the seller claims that they mailed it and they never did, which is what happened in that case with me. But in this case, This is just something that's so bizarre. I even sent the photo of the actual post office that I went to the customer. I sent them a photo of the envelope. Like, I've done everything humanly possible to be as transparent as I can. But at the end of the day, it still falls on my shoulders because I am the seller and it is my customers' money that I have in my hand and they expect to get their product. And it sucks that this happened. Even though clearly I have quite a few Corbin Carrolls here and I have some more Corbin Carrolls on the way and I got some in my card holders there. And plus I just sent off a whole bunch of cards today. It gets me thoroughly angry that the institution of the United States Post Office can handle something so poorly, especially when it comes to somebody else's money or somebody else's property and or both. So I want to thank this particular customer for accepting my offer. My customer has agreed to have me send him this SGC10 Refractor because he was telling me that he specifically collects refractors. So I do have an Refractor and he agreed to it. Fortunately, I have more Corbin Carroll refractors coming. So, it doesn't bother me to part with this because I think they're around the same price point. But it's aggravating because I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to sacrifice another card because of somebody else's mistake. And it's not the customer's fault. It's not my fault. It's a damn postal service. And then again, I live in a brand new location too. So as far as I know, maybe this post office sucks. Maybe it's incompetent. And their employees are incompetent. I don't know. At the time I'm making this video, my postal carrier here, from what I've seen for the first few days since I moved to this apartment, comes like around 2:30 to 3 o'clock. Who knows? It might be a return to sender. It might be in my mailbox right now. I don't know. But this is frustrating. It's aggravating. I know it's the holidays. I know the post office like FedEx and UPS and all these, shipping carriers are working double time and triple time in some cases, I'm sure, to fulfill Christmas deliveries. I mean, they are in effect, in some form, Santa Claus. But at the same time, it's not just something that I spent money on that I decided to sell because I am trying to run a business on eBay. But when it comes to other people's money, it gets a little bit more personal because I know the value of a dollar and I know times are tough for a lot of people right now. And this individual, I never asked them about their personal life or situation like that. What I care about is they have money. They got it from someplace somehow and they trusted me with their money and they didn't get their product because of somebody else's incompetence. I sent this individual screen captures, photographs. I mean, I don't know what else to do. I even encouraged them to download, the 17 track and parcel app and whatnot, and they did. And I deeply apologize for this mishap because this has never happened to me before. Guys, be careful. If you are an eBay seller like me, do what you can to avoid this situation. I will never plop another baseball card or any kind of package in that pull-down drum. And I've been doing it all this time. I've never had an issue. I'm approaching almost 500 perfect 100% feedbacks at the time I'm making this video. And anybody, you look up the Charlotte Patriot, you'll see for yourselves. I've never had this issue happen to me before. I'm so disappointed at the post office. But now it's costing me another card. Fortunately, I have a couple more Corbin Carrolls coming and I have another autograph that I paid for. So it's not... Money's money, and that's what really gets me angry, man. So again, to my customer, I appreciate you accepting my offer. I'm going to deliver this to the teller, hopefully by the end of the day today, if you're watching this video, because I promised you I'd make this video specifically for you. Again, I deeply apologize for this, and of course, this is a way of course, holding myself accountable to my customers, because, at the end of the day, it falls on my hands, or, falls into my lap. But in this case, I know what I did, I know what I sent, and I tried my best to let my customer know that I've done everything humanly possible to see what happened with this card, downloading multiple tracking apps and whatnot. But the damn post office ate my card that someone spent hard-earned money on that now they're not going to get the card that they wanted. But fortunately, I'm working with a very nice individual who's accepted this replacement. Again, thank you for negotiating with me. And again, I deeply apologize. At the end of the day, it does fall on my shoulders, but this has to do with not just my money, but when it comes to another person's money, I take that even more seriously. So to the United States Post Office, eat you know what. And eat a lot of it. This is unbelievable. That now I'm going to be short a card out of my own personal collection. Whether or not I was going to sell this card in the future or not, I don't know. But now it's costing me a card because of the incompetence of the Postal Service. This sucks. I'm angry. I'm trying not to use colorful metaphors or, foul language or vernacular of the type that's not family friendly. But this sucks. And it bothers me because what's going to happen if this Adley Rushman sells? And I plop this in a mailbox. What's going to not in the mailbox, into the drum where you drop your packages. What's going to happen? That's all I got to say about this, ladies and gentlemen. I again, to my customer who bought that card, you'll get your Refractor. Thank you for negotiating with me and working to resolve this issue. I deeply apologize for that. And I'm coming out publicly discussing this because this sucks. But at the end of the day, it falls on my shoulders as a seller. And I have to fulfill my customers' orders no matter what. Or at least try my best to work out something that the customer's happy with and I'm happy with. And thank God, at least at this point in my life, I've got money to burn and I have other Corbin Carroll refractors coming. I got some heavy hitters coming. Maybe I'll do a video about that. I don't know. Right now, I'm upset at this situation. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you for checking out my content and supporting the channel. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, hit that like button and comment. I hope this doesn't happen to any of you. Use due diligence. And this is, again, I've been on eBay for a couple of years now as a seller. I've never experienced anything like this before. It's a loss on my account because I spent money on that PSA 9. And now that I had the PSA 10, I decided to sell the PSA 9, and now I got screwed. So now I have to make my customer happy, which I'm deeply appreciative of, that they agreed to accept this card as a replacement. God damn you, United States Postal Service. Anyway, take care. I'm ending this video right here. I apologize for being so frustrated, ladies and gentlemen, but this is unacceptable from the post office. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you soon.